Yeah. The bells are chiming. It's TruthWire timing. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, Craig Pasta Jardula. This is the TruthWire. And of course, I'm here with...
You're here with Fiorella. Who else?
and Jayme CheeseSlice on the ones and twos on the background. Of course, the rest of the fam is here. You know, Friendly Brilliance hanging out. Gabrielle Freedom's there. Where's Fred Edward? Would somebody wake Fred up? Get Fred up and tell him to come. We have a show going on. Got a lot of fun things to talk about today, boys and girls. I am on the road on assignment of sorts out in the LA area, fam. I'm going to try to get out there to where they're still protesting almost every single day. There's usually a couple people out there. They've been doing it for like 230 something odd days straight. Talk to maybe some people in the ICE protests, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, fam, right before our eyes.
Yeah, go say hi to some of our friends over there in Los Angeles, you know. Long time no see to all the LA peeps. I miss you all. But it's been a crazy ride all over the world. So I've been I haven't stopped pretty much going places. And you know, I actually realized that in my discussions that I had with Miss Vanessa Beeley, that I posted the Substack yesterday. We travel, like we were discussing everything from Mexico and to South America, and then all the way to what's happening in Iran. And it's kind of crazy how all of these events are connected. And we're kind of going to talk about how these events are connected in throughout the show, because they very much are. And we're going to talk about the ICE, of course, as Pasta introduced. That's still very much happening. We're going to talk about the cartel Psyop, the Mexican cartel Psyop, and it's mostly a Psyop, and because of the fact that there was so much AI fake videos and fake news shared. And of course, it was coming mostly from a lot of right-wingers, a lot of people who were not even in Mexico, or who went to Mexico seemingly on vacation, or who don't live there and don't know the story.
And
it just
was, like, was going on too, fan. So there was like so a lot of people from Acapulco left over, just paid a little extra time. You know, they were there, by the way.
Yeah, but a lot of these people who go to this events, no offense, but some of them have a very Western perspective on Mexico and on like what goes on there, and they don't talk to anybody from the anti-imperialist sectors there. So it's kind of like
they don't go to the favelas, right, fam? Like us.
Well, they don't.
They don't go to those areas, and
no, they go from our perspective, and I say our because, like, I'm Latin American. It does come off as just very much like, oh, here's, you know, the Western guy coming in and giving his take on this without having the historical background, and that touched a chord with me. A lot, because it really just and it's people like that are being pushed by the algorithm on X, and people that don't know anything. Like, that just come in, and that distorted the reality for a lot of people in Mexico, a lot of people who live there, and there are expats that live there and that were defending what was actually happening, like Jackie Pagao. So we're gonna go over some of these tweets from people that were there and that were actually on the ground and have lived there in Mexico, aren't just there for, you know, an event or vacation. And that on the ground experience of understanding the people is missing. Now, the other thing, of course, we're going to talk about is Trump's State of the Union address, which Pasta was like insulting, not insulting me, but insulting the entire thing, which I understand, like everybody. I mean, I watched clips of everything, but not the entire thing when it was happening, because it was like, I was like, I don't want to waste my time. And my mom was like, he's just saying a bunch of bullshit. He's not saying anything remotely like necessary for anybody to hear. My dad fell asleep while watching it. So
I gotta tell you, fam, Jayme's gonna actually provide some perspective. We're gonna bring Jayme in at that time, because Jayme said he said two good things. I'm like, well, cool, because I don't know what they were, and I didn't pay much attention to it because it was the same old bullshit. I said I can't deal with this, man. You know, it is the mentality. I think we have to really talk about it. I think Biden did it a little bit in his administration, where no matter what, you just constantly repeat the lie that you're doing a good job, that things are amazing, that we're winning. We're doing so much winning. And if anybody who's paying just a little bit of attention understands that this shit is just like, it's like that meme from the movie with the Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio. They're on the boat and they're all going hip hop, hooray, ho, hey, and everything's beautiful. The sun is out and shining, the water's calming, and then the next clip is, what the fuck is happening? And it's a storm. That is what this presidency has been like. It has gotten so crazy, so quick. And the whole ICE thing, you know, like you're talking about what we're talking about here and there, you know, having the opportunity to go out in Minnesota. I mean, I'm so thankful of that because it was like historic, really, what happened over there. Minnesota has a history. And this is something, once again, that the right fails to fucking learn, to provide the proper context. Do I think those people that were on the street were amazing and everything? No, I think they got that right. But a lot of those same people, the 100,000 people who were out there to push back against ICE in Minnesota, I think they would be okay with a national task force, maybe for mandates for COVID shots. I think they'd be okay with that, right? So when I'm out there and looking at ICE and seeing what's going on, I am definitely attacking it from a civil liberties perspective about what is right or wrong. The reason why I'm not crazy about law enforcement is because they're always there to infringe on our civil liberties. And that's what we're supposed to have, which is supposed to make this country amazing and great more than anything, is we have our civil liberties, right? And we give due process. Those are the things that are supposed to make us unique. But yet as a society, both sides of the spectrum and the citizenry are getting duped into playing this tribal politics. And we see it in every aspect of what's going on, including the Mexico stuff, because I think they're not providing the proper context too as well. They lack the historical knowledge, but they're not also providing the proper context. The way they kind of talk as if Mexico and the United States are on the same level, like the way they kind of shine bombs in on it too. It's like,
yeah,
come on, guys. Like, let's provide the proper context to what's going on so we can explain it. Yeah.
It's very lazy. It's very lazy. So let's go ahead and get started with the ICE thing, because I think that one is a shorter section and that one's important to point out, you know, because ICE agents continue to get exposed. We've talked about the intelligence mechanism behind it is being tied to Palantir, to this surveillance tech that's obviously going to be used on all of us and is being used currently. It's being formulated into this digital prison that is Gaza, and that will be pretty much expanding into the occupied Palestinian territories known as the West Bank. So all of that, Pasta, if you want to lay it out for us, what this whistleblower exposed.
Well, this is the part that, you know, people will argue about. They'll point to laziness and cheapness, right? Like, in other words, everything ICE is doing is because the elites want to save a dollar. They don't want to spend on it. I have a different output on this, right? This is telling us stuff we already knew. We understood that, you know, we had saw a memo that they were told they were allowed ICE agents to go into a house without a judicial warrant. They were allowed to go in with an administrative warrant. Well, this is a whistleblower who goes back to the actual training and how they're trained. Now, the question I ask you, fam, to pay attention is ICE doing this because they're trying to save a buck and they just don't want to pay the full tab for this training? Or did they purposely put untrained national police force out there because they knew and counted on situations like Alex Preddy and Renee Good to happen, being more divisive and split the country? Because that's the thing I think we have to understand here. For me, the lack of training and the telling of cadets that they have the right to violate the Constitution is all done on purpose and design. So we would have these situations that we had that would tear the country in half. Let's play the clip. I only got 2 big clips because his first 5 minutes, he just lays it out, fam, and they really get into it. Feel free to stop at any time. This is Mr. Ryan Schwank. He is an ex-attorney for ICE and a trainer, and he's going to give his testimony. This is his open 5 minutes. We're here with the TruthWire. All the links down below to help the show out. I'm here with Fiorella Isabel, Jayme, CheeseSlice, and all the fam. Please like, please share. Let's take a listen into Mr. Ryan Schwank.
Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, Representative Garcia, members of the committee. My name is Ryan Schwank. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution when I joined ICE on August 1st, 2021, as an assistant chief counsel. I followed that oath for 4.5 years, working side by side with ICE officers. And I followed it when I resigned on February 13th, 2026, a little over a week ago, so that I could speak to you today. I am here because I am duty-bound to report the legally required training program at the ICE Academy is deficient, defective, and broken.
Pause it.
5 months ago, I was...
Fam, so that's the key. He says it was the 3 Ds, right? Deficient, broken, but
Effective.
yeah, defective. But he's not using the term. You know what I'm saying? I think I can't think of a good word for it. It's very nefarious. You know what I'm saying? The training is meant to be nefarious. And that's what I think that people have to understand. We are at that time where they are just going against the Constitution and eroding all our civil liberties.
Mm-hmm.
So continue to play it, Jayme.
asked to teach the law to new cadets at the ICE Academy in Glencoe, Georgia, where ICE is training its new, inexperienced recruits. I volunteered, those without law enforcement training, I volunteered to take on this assignment based on my experience in law enforcement oversight, including at the state and local level prior to my work with ICE. On my first day, I received secretive orders to teach new cadets to violate the Constitution by entering homes without a judicial warrant. For the last 5 months, I watched ICE dismantle the training program, cutting 240 hours of vital classes from a 584-hour program. Classes that teach the Constitution, our legal system, firearms training, the use of force, lawful arrests, proper detention, and the limits of officers' authority. For example, they ceased all of the legal instructions regarding use of force. This means that cadets are not taught what it means to be objectively reasonable, the very standard which the law requires them to meet when deciding whether or not to use deadly force. Our jobs as instructors are to teach them so well that they can make split-second decisions about what they can and cannot do in life or death situations. Yet, in the name of churning out an endless stream of officers, DHS leadership has dismantled the academic and practical tests that we need to know if cadets can safely and lawfully perform their job. All to satisfy an administration demanding they train thousands of new officers before the end of the year. DHS told the public that new cadets receive all the training they need to perform their duties, that no critical material or standards have been cut. This is a lie. ICE made the program shorter, and they removed so many essential parts that what remains is a dangerous husk. No reasonable person would believe a training program suddenly cut nearly in half could meet the minimum legal requirements. These aren't abstract rules. They're required in regulations such as 8 CFR 287G1. Congress requires immigration officers to meet minimum standards for a reason.
Pause it.
ICE cannot lawfully.
Fam, so far what you're hearing, right? And you think, you're almost thinking if the everyday person was watching this, it was like, oh, they wanted to produce as many, graduated cadets for ICE as possible. To do so, they cut the training in half. This is all about finances, whatnot. But the meme that keeps playing in my mind, and we'll go out of this really quickly. We'll come back to it. Is the meme from Game of Thrones? Remember the guy who was fighting the mountain? Who gave the order? He was screaming, "Who gave the order?" He wanted to know who gave these orders, right? Like, they're going to say it came from ICE, the agency itself, but somebody above them, somebody from the state gave orders for a certain reason. And I think that's the thing that we need to question more than anything, is that if they did this purposely and not just to save a buck, why would they do these things? We have to realize how nefarious this is right now, because this also is connected to the ICE detention centers, which is a story, fam, I think I want to start getting out and following. These ICE detention centers are very much like what they did, what the George Bush administration did with it came to Iraq and Guantanamo Bay. They were able to reclassify and label the prisoners as enemy combatants. Therefore, they didn't have to give them certain rights that American prisoners have, that they're all supposed to have, that are provided within the Constitution. And they could hold them longer, make money off them. Once again, remember, war is a racket, and part of the racket is housing prisoners, feeding prisoners, making sure prisoners are taken care of. There's a lot of money that comes from the state and goes to these private industries. And that's what they're seeing right now. We're seeing these detention centers pop up everywhere. And fam, it's like I said, guess what? They might be for the immigrant today, but who are those detention centers for tomorrow, fam?
I have a couple things to say on this while we continue this video. This is not an accident. He's coming at it from the perspective of somebody that worked in law enforcement. So therefore he's going to look at it this way. He's going to find and say, well, they're not following the protocols, they're not following the law. But what somebody outside of that perspective doesn't realize is that this is functioning the way it was intended. ICE is supposed to be a force that works for those in power. It's supposed to be a force that was invented after the 9/11, essentially, after everything that happened, after we decided to go to war. And it wasn't something that was necessary. It wasn't something that was required before, but it was something that they invented in order to accomplish an objective, a political one. And so when you look at it that way, you know that ICE is actually functioning the way it was intended to. What it's not functioning as is what they have created, this image that they're protecting the citizens of the United States from these crazy radical cartel terrorist immigrants that are coming in and killing everybody. That's how they're feeding the public that this is necessary, especially obviously the people that supported Trump for the immigration issue. And that's why they're able to do that. But it's not that. It was never intended to be some sort of protective force for the American people. Look who they're protecting. Number one, they're protecting the interests of a political class that is making a lot of money off this new batch of private prison systems directly related to the military-industrial complex and Silicon Valley, because now we're dealing with the tech that is being used by a lot of the people that went into the Trump administration, that Elon Musk's friends, and that a lot of people said they were gone and that he was going to drain the swamp. No, Silicon Valley is right in the swamp. All of this conglomerate is working. So, Yeah, that's what I wanted to say on that. I don't think it's necessarily like the perspective I have that he's sharing, but he is sharing it from the perspective of being somebody there where it's not working. You're gonna have that perspective because you're gonna have people who went into it for a different reason, and then they're seeing, wait a minute, there's like you're not even following basic rules, so this isn't working.
Let's play the rest of the video.
Cannot lawfully perform their duties, make arrests, carry weapons, and use force without passing appropriate training. New cadets are graduating from the academy despite widespread concerns among training staff that even in the final days of training, the cadets cannot demonstrate a solid grasp of the tactics or the law required to perform their jobs. Without reform, ICE will graduate thousands of new officers who do not know their constitutional duty, do not know the limits of their authority, and who do not have the training to recognize an unlawful order. That should scare everyone. DHS assures the public these cadets can get the job training on compensate for anything missing at the academy. This is a lie. Many graduates go to their home office just long enough to get their gun, their badge, and their body armor before deploying to places like Minneapolis and other ICE operations with minimal supervision. It's shocking that anyone would think this is safe or responsible. And this pattern of lies is not isolated. It extends beyond the training program to include deceiving Congress and the public about the rules followed by ICE officers once they graduate. On my first day at the academy, I was instructed to read and return a memo in my supervisor's presence.
Here it is.
Which claimed ICE officers could enter homes without a judicial warrant. The acting ICE director authorized the very conduct that DHS, in its own 2025 legal training materials, had called the chief evil against which the wording of the Fourth Amendment is directed. That is physical entry of the home without consent or a proper warrant. Never in my career had I ever received such a blatantly unlawful order, nor one conveyed in such a troubling manner. Incredibly, I was being shown this memo in secret by my supervisor, who made sure that I understood that disobedience could cost me my job. ICE is teaching cadets to violate the Constitution, and they were attempting to cloak it in secrecy by demanding that I lie about it.
Fam, that's the third part since we've stopped, right? We broke it down in different parts of it. Okay, so now we know there's this memo out there that was, he also said that they also made it clear that if I didn't follow these instructions, my ass is out of here, right? He mentioned that in a way. But now we know there's a memo. So here's my third question. Why would they allow? No, by the way, for Donald Trump to go winning in his State of the Union, when you have something like this is like, holy shit, this guy just exposed that your whole agency it was told and taught to violate the Constitution. You'd be like this 30 years ago, they'd be saying, is the president going to have to resign tonight after this came out, right? And nowadays he can just, oh, it's great, we're still winning. We're getting bad people out of the country, fam. And people are that naive and have lost their principles to go along with it. But my question is, too, as well, why would they allow this information to get out, right? I mean, are we so far gone as a society, as a nation, that we don't even give a fuck about any standard whatsoever, that it's just completely tribal, and no matter what my team says, I'm going to back it and go against the other team? I mean, we have the media, the Nick Sorters in place, right, which the whole Mexico shit they served. But, I mean, are we really that far gone down that they'll allow this stuff to come out and not think that this is anything wrong whatsoever? I mean, this is a national police force told to go and violate one of the most sacred fucking civil liberties we have on the books, the Fourth Amendment, unlawful search and seizures of your home, fam.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, the violation of the Constitution is an important point made by a lot of people on the libertarian end, or a lot of people on the end where you're looking at the Constitution. And this is where Trump has failed, because a lot of his supporters went in to towards supporting him because they thought he was going to uphold basic rights like the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment. All of those rights have already been trampled on. So I think that, yeah, they are allowing this to get out because, one, he's a whistleblower. They thought somebody like that would never turn on them because most of those people are entirely brainwashed, entirely the type of people that just follow orders and that don't question authority. That's why they're chosen. And so they have diminished the training. They have diminished any sort of eval that they would normally have, which is why they have the type of people that they have, that most of them aren't all saying, wait, this is wrong, because they don't think like that. They're thinking of the bonus they're going to get. They're thinking about whatever political ideology they've been fed, whatever it is, like, and you know, and like I said before, it's very nefarious. They specifically target minorities too, to work for them against the people that they're going after. But the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, all of the constitutional amendments have basically been targeted for a long time, but especially the last few years. And so it's no surprise to me that now some people are realizing how bad it is. But it is that bad. It's been that bad. And they're not there to ensure that those amendments and the law are respected for the American public. That tells you exactly what they're there for. It's not about the Constitution. They're going to make up the fact that this is a matter of national security and that they have to do this and expand their power that way. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt them in that way. I mean, their image is already tarnished by over half of the country. But what are we going to do about it? We don't do anything about these things. You have people protesting, but it's not enough to actually change the fact that these people in power want this done, and they're going to continue to do it.
And 40 years ago, this guy would be talking, and this would be like Nixon-esque, like having to quit. Like literally, they'd be asking, who gave the order to the ICE fucking chief, right? Like the head ICE. Who gave that order to him? They want to know. Somebody in the State Department. Oh, wait. Somebody in the State Department. Who? Was it Rubio? Was it Hegseth? Who gave the order to tell these people, go ahead and violate the Constitution? You know as well as I do, fam, that fucking ICE chief did not fucking do that on his own. He was told that he could fucking do this. And that's something that will not be talked about any network whatsoever, right? Right now on MSNBC or MSN Now or CNN right now, they're using it and weaponizing it and going, look, the Democrats are the good ones going and fighting this. Bullshit. They're full of shit. They're going to try to capitalize on this situation. Did you see the Gavin Newsom interview when somebody talked about the Zionism? That's interesting. You see, that's interesting. Another fucking Zionist they're trying to push up. Remember, he's the number one choice. He's your favorite, fam, on Kalshi. AOC is third, I think, behind Kamala. Let's watch Dick Blumenthal. Now, I don't want to fucking praise Dick Blumenthal because he might be right about this situation because he's allowed to be. Dick Blumenthal is a rabid fucking Lindsey Graham style Senator Murphy, Elizabeth Warren, let's go to Ukraine and support them because of Vladimir Putin bad fucking senator. And he's also very weird looking and speaks weird and I don't know. But anyways, this is just once again to reiterate what's going on with this memo, because that once again, we have to look and say that memo that was out there too, and everything was leaked. That's the linchpin to what's everything that's going on, right? This is the start of where the cadets are told they can go into the houses, and they've been going into houses without judicial warrants or into private places without judicial warrants. So let's play this over here real quick. Dick Blumenthal.
Through the memo that Acting Director Lyons, or rather in September, the memo dates from May, and it was used for hundreds of agents who now are on the streets and in our neighborhoods.
Nowhere on this memo is there anything that would let you know that this is an official policy of the agency. And to my knowledge, it's never been disseminated as one. It's been handed out piecemeal to people to use when the agency thinks they need to.
Which directly undercuts the veracity of Acting Director Lyons' testimony under oath before a congressional
Good for you, Dick.
The memo was
Blumenthal,
shown to me.
Okay, so pretty much what it's being said, and you can take it down, is that it's not an official document, so therefore they can't say this is their official position on it, right? They have their official rules on the book, which probably say go to a judge like a big boy and big girl and have a judge sign your fucking warrant, because that's the way we do things in the United States of America, right? That's their official fucking laws on the books. But once again, he said he was handing it out piecemeal, going around. Okay, tell these guys it's not official, but tell them off the books, so a judicial warrant will be just fine. It's okay, right? If the guy's brown and he's got a Latin accent, go into his fucking house. We'll cover for you later, right? Not to mention that we also saw then a documented leak, fam, for quotas on arrest.
Yeah.
It's a business, baby. War's a racket, and the war has been brought home to your streets.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The war has come home. It really started here, to be honest, but it's kind of come back, and we talked about this with an interview I did, the boomerang effect of our actions abroad have returned back to hunt us here in the United States. And this is only the beginning, because as I said, if most Americans have no idea what other people have faced abroad, what they're facing abroad, what they're used to facing abroad in terms of sanctions, bombs, blackouts, that sort of thing. What we're doing to Cuba right now. I mean, we're it's endless what we've done, and we're going to get into that in a second. But I think it's important you pointed this out, because there is more of this that needs to be done. Just it's good that it is on a legal basis, because unfortunately the world, or fortunately, whatever you think that may be, works this way, right? Where there has to be documentation, there has to be laws in place. There is a bureaucratic element to this. So if somebody within that bureaucracy, or at least has access to point out this isn't like fairly legal, although it is a reformist approach that I don't align with, at the very least, people are getting to see that. People who are, normies are getting to see, wait a minute, this is okay. They're actually trampling on our civil liberties. That's not cool. I think that's an important distinction that some people are making now. And I think that the constitutional aspect of it really hits with a lot of people who are really railing against what Trump is doing, and what the U.S. intelligence apparatus is doing. Let's face it, because Trump isn't the only one making the shots here.
I'm searching for a meme that I can't find right now, but it's the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, right? I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, fam. It's a famous play.
I know the play.
Yeah. And the movie had like an all-star cast, and it had Al Pacino as Richard Roma, and Kevin Spacey was a young office manager, and it had Jack Lemmon, who was one of the two guys from the Grumpier Old Men. There's Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. And Jack Lemmon cursed so much. I've never seen Jack Lemmon curse so much in a movie. And Glengarry Glen Ross, he cursed a lot. It had Ed Harris, who's a pretty high energy type of guy as well. Alec Baldwin had a famous scene in it. Great. He came down to talk to people. But Alan Arkin was also in the movie. And Alan Arkin has this one thing. It's just, me and my friend Trappy, we talk about it all the time. He has this whole thing. He's getting questioned by the police, and he's screaming throughout the whole office, Gestapo tactics. I come to work and I read Gestapo tactics. And I am giving Jayme CheeseSlice permission right now, the way he has the same soundbite that goes, everything this guy says is bullshit, from the movie My Cousin Vinny. He needs to go get Gestapo tactics from Glengarry Glen Ross, because we're going to be talking about these Gestapos for quite a bit. Because here's the thing, fam, even though all this comes out, we did have a small victory in Minnesota, but the shit's still going on. There's even talks right here in Alhambra that they've seen ICE go around. I'm hearing talks about in Florida, in certain parts of Florida, they're all out there. And even Donald Trump said the other day, too, as well, he spat in the face. It's really awful what they did to the community family, the Cuban family here. Well, now he also kind of said at the very tail end, and we don't need the immigrants from Cuba, right? Like the immigration from Cuba getting out of hand. So from what we understand, and we're seeing leaders and certain people that are getting deported to Cuba now, or Cubans are getting deported. I don't know what's going on, but he spat in the face. So we need to talk about the Gestapo tactics that these guys are doing, and we're going to continue to talk about them for quite some time. Fam, we ready to get to the next section?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
do that.
let's
Jayme,
get
you
to
want to
it.
get up the give, send, go? Do you not have it? Well, we'll have one of the producers. Hey, producer, in the chat over there, can you share to everybody? We want to thank everybody who's been jumping in and helping on out. As you know, Fam and I have been putting together a little nest egg of sorts so we can go to some places and do this reporting. This ICE situation, and Fam, to tell you the truth, like, I never thought, if anything, I thought this would be a story that you'd be following a lot, would be the ICE situation, right? The protests in the streets. I never thought I'd be diving into it so much, and I'm looking into more, and I'm kind of educating myself on what's going on in these detention centers. And now there's some city councils that are erupting and saying, get these detention centers out of here. So maybe I'll make some trips around to go do some reporting and talk to people and see what's going on with these detention centers. This is something big. They're spending billions of dollars, warehouses, gutting them up, and these detention centers will be for the dissidents, right? Those who will push back against the government. And we're needing help to go do so. So if you want to go to this Give, Send, Go, guys, go ahead and show it up, Jayme. Mr. CheeseSlice, he's got it up there. All right. We got a little something going over there. If you can't give, share. We got a lot of shares out there. You guys, a lot of you people shared that video that I was on the beach with my glasses. I had these glasses on the beach right here. Look at this. That's Fam, not me. Good. Now good. There you
I
go.
love how he
I had these on the
puts
beach,
me up.
Fam, and it was beautiful out. And walking down the beach, and I said, right over there is Cuba. And I've been to Cuba before, able to bring a lot of baseball equipment because you guys helped me out with that too as well. So do me a favor, guys. Go to this Give, Send, Go right here. Right here. See that guy? That's me and Fam in 2018 when we did the Democratic Convention in, was it San Francisco? Was it Long Beach? Or was it San Diego? San Diego. Guys, do a favor. Give it if you can. We'll read your names aloud. Jayme, let's get the last 5 names that are on there, and we'll read it during the next break. Copy and paste them, star them in there. The last 5 will do. Guys, if you want to help on out, get family, we got to go. We got elections in Peru. We got elections in Colombia. We got elections in Brazil. That's going to be interesting. I think Bolsonaro's son might be running, Fam. And people got to understand, Bolsonaro's party owns a lot of seats in Brazilian politics. So it's not like Lula's just got this dominant wave going on. There's a lot of pushback over there. There's a culture war of sorts going on. I think we need to cover a lot of that. In Colombia, it's going to be interesting because who's Colombia going to get back in power? Is it going to get another Gustavo Petro, who appeared to be a thorn in the side of the Trump administration? But maybe Donald Trump was told, Mr. President, just wait it out. We have another election coming in. We'll get another El Duque in there. They're buying weapons. He didn't get rid of the weapons contract. That's all that matters. Yeah, he's making some changes and stuff. And it looks like a lot of our contracts from raping the, Amazon might be going away, but we can get them back with another puppet of ours in government. That election is going to be very important, Fam, is it not? I mean, come on.
So we're talking about Colombia, Brazil, and Peru, part of the Amazon. And the Amazon are the lungs of the earth. And, as much as I know that the environment movement is bullshit and it's backed by neoliberal interests, the environment, the earth is important, actually. So, there's people that think, that nothing matters, that we can just trash and plastic and burn and, drill everything. That's also not the way. I think the Amazon is in jeopardy of being privatized by the United States and by Zionists. And that's, I think, the next goal. So this election can go fully on course to make that happen. So these next elections are extremely important for Latin America, especially with Iran being targeted. If anything happens to Iran, if Iran is gone, so is the entirety of resistance everywhere. Because Iran even provided aid to Venezuela during their time of need. That's how far it's gone with Iran, right? And otherwise, I think Venezuela would have folded even earlier. And that's just a frank discussion of reality. So if Iran goes, if the rest of South America goes, we're going to be facing a very, very dark time, a very technocratically fascistic time of neo-feudalism, where we're basically cattle to them. And that's all we are. So since
can we
I
read some
gave
of
you
the-
that
can I-
dark perspective, let's go ahead and move
Let me
on.
read some names real quick since we're here and we got the thing up.
Yeah.
Guys, if you want to help on out, Gabrielle, if you can put the link inside the chat, we can do that. Hugh Durkan or Durkin, 25 USD coins. Thank you so much, Hugh. We appreciate Hugh. Hugh, fam, this anonymous person. I can't wait to see this anonymous person and meet them in real life. $50. I've been following you since the Convo couch and the stupid pizza wars. Except for that, keep up the good work, fam. Fam, this is you being mean to Kit Cabello and his pizza because we had pizza. We had Lou Molinati's in Chicago together, me and Fam was not impressed. It was like casserole, and she was not happy. Who else we got? Carl Evans. Thank you so much, Carl Evans. $25 make you holler, guys. Go ahead and snap on the link. Go ahead and do a little donate if you can. Help on out. I really want to cover more of these ICE detention centers and these city councils that are trying to throw them out. Mark Thomas. Oh, I remember Mark from the Mines Fest. That's right. Great to meet you at the Mines Fest in Austin last year, Craig. Keep the faith. God bless your work. Oh, that's when I destroyed, fam. I didn't destroy, but I beat up a little bit on Destiny. It was an unfair fight for him. He wasn't ready for that one. He got blindsided with me showing up for that election thing. It was like, holy shit, this guy's like, and that's the whole thing. Destiny on his Adderall has probably got a way higher IQ than me, fam. But, when I always say you'll be familiar with the waters you're swimming in, right? We understand the elections through and through. This is the reason why Mike Tracy wouldn't come and debate me on these things, because he didn't understand what was going on with the elections. When you're just taking the numbers on elections and you're trying to make analysis, you're making analysis on false figures. Okay? Those aren't the figures. You got to make sure those figures are straight and where those figures can be. I can tell you precisely, Fam can tell you precisely, we can tell you precisely where the numbers were fudged with. When we don't have the mechanism to go in there and look and make sure they're straight, but we understand how it works. So, guys, do us a favor. Also, Gross Destiny. Oh, come on. He's a nice... Not really.
No, he's not, Pasta. He's a piece of shit. Why? Like, that's not... Come on. You don't got to be, like... That's not being nice. That's just being, come on, an idiot. They call him a piece of shit. Like, he's a piece of shit. That's it. Like, and I destroyed him, too. If you're Fam, you remember that.
Oh, yeah. That was at the... whatchamacallit.
I did it first.
Things. Yes, I remember that. But that was like a panel, and you got to spank him at the very end. I remember that. He got spanked by Fam. Yeah. He carries water for the CIA talking points and stuff. I also did a panel though with Lauren Chen, Libby Evans, who's from the Post Millennial, the managing editor of the Post Millennial, and I forgot this other guy, John something from the Steve Bannon show, and is America becoming a communist country? And I was by myself. Jayme says I did a really good job, and a lot of people thought I did an amazing job that night. There's a lot of right wingers at that event, a lot of libertarians too, but they came up to me after. They were so like, who the fuck is Pasta? Like, but here's the thing, fam. We both did it in a very professional manner. Me way more professional of a manner, because I didn't just beat him up. I just kind of just disassembled his theories and tore him up when it came to elections. But anyways, guys, help on out. Get me and Fam out there. Boots on the ground. I got a microphone over here. Let me show you, Fam.
Destiny is a stripper name. I've known Destinies who are strippers. Like, it's the most. You're absolutely right. Besides, there's another one that's more of a stripper name too. Is it Amber? But Destiny, like Destiny, Crystal. It's Crystal. The other one, Crystal.
Fam, it's Crystal.
But Destiny for sure is a stripper name. No offense to anybody that has those names, but I'm just saying I would never name my daughter Destiny. Okay, Fam, let's get to it, because this, some of us have an out in an hour. Let's get to it.
Yes.
The Mexican cartel Psyop. I was really, really pissed off about this, because I just saw a lot of the white man going over there to Mexico and just doing journalism. I don't know where these people came from. They're somehow being pushed on the X algorithm. But they were just saying a lot of bullshit. They were sharing a lot of AI, a lot of it was weird, right? How all this AI and all this fake news, all these fake videos that were being shared were shared about Mexico and the cartel, really backing Trump's claim that this is so dangerous and that Americans should stay away and that this is why they need the United States because Mexico is so dangerous and they can't handle their shit with the cartels. Okay, so we're going to go into that thing. So I had a Reuters article, but it doesn't come up. So this, what basically is saying is the whole point is that Trump is using this, what happened in Mexico, to pretty much push an effort for Mexico to do something about it, which Mexico has it under control. But the narrative they want to push is, you need us. Look, we were right. This is why we've been like this about the cartels, about immigration, about everything else, because this is dangerous, right? This is why we built the wall. This is exactly why we built the wall. So that's the narrative that they're pushing, that Mexico can handle their shit. And so there was a flood of fake news. And I'm going to put up the first one, an RT tweet. So you can see this one, right? There was Laura Loomer, by the way, you know, a favorite of many people, was spreading fake news. No surprise there. She was saying that the U.S. eliminated a top cartel leader in Mexico, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, and has retaliated by storming the Guadalajara airport with armed gunmen. They are now taking American tourists hostage at nearby highways and hotels. Literally 100% of what she said is false. Everything she said in that tweet is false. Of course, that tweet got spread like wildfire all over social media, in particular X. And so the U.S. Embassy in Mexico, the Embassy of Mexico in the U.S., had to issue a lot of corrections. The government of Mexico as a whole had to issue a lot of corrections, and they had constantly to say, no, this is a lie. What's actually happening is this. And this is one of the examples. This post is false. The military operation in Tapalpa, Jalisco, aimed at capturing Ruben and alias Mencho, was planned and executed by Mexican special forces. The action was carried out within the framework of bilateral cooperation with the U.S. authorities, providing complementary intelligence. Mexican National Guard and Army troops are currently reinforcing security in Jalisco and neighboring states to maintain order. And not only that, literally there was no storming of the Guadalajara airport with armed gunmen. Like, they didn't take people hostage. There were there was panic, there were suspects, but there wasn't a hostage situation like Laura Loomer made it sound. And I have to reiterate that. And there's a lot more coming from this. So this is an example of a lot of the fake news, right? So this person said, a cartel leader, Nemencio Segura Cervantes. So El Mencho, by the way, was the guy that the Mexican government captured. He was one of the top cartel leaders. And so they post this, and all of this is fake news. And I wanted you to let's read the correction, which isn't always right, but in this case it is. This video does not depict cartel violence in Mexico. It shows protests in Nepal from September 2025, where Gen Z demonstrators torch vehicles and buildings amid anti-corruption rallies and social media bans. Another, by the way, to color revolution attempt, apparently. I don't know. That was what the debate was back then. So the license plates you can clearly see are from Nepal, right? 21,000 people like this, okay? So guys, I can't stress enough how much you need to actually source stuff before you share it, because you're contributing to this fake news. I'm against censorship, but I'm against actual fake news. And this fake news has a political target. It's not accidental. This all happened at one time and being spread by Elon Musk and that algorithm, which is exactly seeks to manufacture consent for intervention by the United States into Mexico, which Trump has been talking about for months since he took office. Now, this is a tweet, again, this is by somebody over there that said, contributors from La Derecha Diario Mexico, which is the right-wing outlet, are spreading AI-generated fake images showing burning airplanes supposedly at Guadalajara airport. In situations of maximum tension like this one is when fake news flourish the most. Be careful. So they were circulating images of a plane being on fire in Guadalajara airport, and the Mexican government had to again issue a communication statement basically saying that the situation was handled, that this actually there was no plane on fire, that this was AI. It literally didn't happen. Okay, this isn't it's a false AI generated image, guys. There was no airplane on fire in Guadalajara. Zero. That never happened. Okay. I can't stress to you how much that issued a panic in people, and people started canceling flights. They started freaking out. And that's actually the point of the people behind the scenes pushing this narrative, because they want people to freak out. They want to manufacture consent for US intervention. Okay, that's the reality that we're facing. And then I'll get into the CIA stuff. But Pasta, I want to hear from you from so far. You're muted.
Thank you, fam. I knew. I was testing you. Way to pay attention. This is to enhance the propaganda that the cartels are a lot stronger than they are, that they have more power. Once again, you know what I'm saying? That's why we'll eventually see videos of them, and you're like, oh, you don't know the difference of this is state police or the cartels, and you realize it's the cartels. All this was designed, right, and coordinated. Once again, fam like to use that term, coordinated, to once again push for the fact that the cartels are out of hand, that, you know, they're stronger than they are, that they can shut down, you know, the place. I mean, there was a lockdown of sorts, and that's wise. Okay, there could be retaliation from the cartels, but nothing like what we saw. In other words, that they were they go to the image or the mindset that the cartels run Mexico, right? Yeah. We need to intervene, and that's what the right is saying now in America, and that's what they pushed. You know, and I'm also going to say that, fam, a lot of this fake news that's out there right now, these images that are out there, it's also a double-edged sword, because it's going to lead to more censorship in the future. You know what I'm saying? For the truth tellers. So they're going to use
the Democrats are going to come in and say this is fake news, and
this is why we have to censor everything. Only the AP should be saying shit. There's so much. There's so much so many psyops in one event. Go ahead, fam.
Yeah, and then it just feeds the other side to make more fake shit, like or shit that they create because they don't know the mechanisms of journalism, really not verify anything. So you are stuck in this endless cycle, right? Because we're not advocating for censorship. We're telling you have to be the ones that actually are critical thinkers, because they expect you to not think critically and share stuff like the majority of people do online without checking it. And you know, and everybody makes a mistake. Like sometimes you look at something and it does seem like things are right, and it's not. This other thing that really pissed me off was promoted by Elon Musk, right? So this tweet says she's a cartel plan, right? Because
this is the other part. Yes.
Claudia Scheinbaum was saying that she was against using forces at cartels because it would be a breach of human rights. Returning to the war against the narcos on an option first because it's outside the framework of the law. This is how she is. She's like, you know, a progressive. She doesn't want to use we don't have to play it. She doesn't want to actually go and attack the cartels. She doesn't want to incite more violence. It's gonna increase more of a back and forth, right? And I actually agree with what she's saying. I fully agree. I think she's on the right track of changing how you deal with this stuff. Like, you don't have to do a big show of like who's going to shoot people more. The way is to organize things so you nip it in the bud and you get rid of it. So because of that, they're saying she's working with the cartels because she doesn't want to go to war and have people die because of this war with the cartels. I mean, she doesn't want it to get to that point. So they automatically say, oh, she's working with the cartels. And then later on, if you look on the comment section, Elon Musk says she's just saying what her cartel bosses tell her to say. Let's just say that the punishment for...
You have that?
It should be just right there. It should be the first thing that pops up.
Jayme, is it there? Can you see it?
If you scroll... No. It's the former tweet. He's literally like... here, in fact, I'll just copy it on the thing if you don't have it.
I mean, that is very, very important. The fact that, because once again, this is the guy who owns the platform, who controls the algorithm, who controls the narrative. This is narrative management at its finest. And if he's saying those things, then people are repeating those things. And a lot of people in the right wing, they do repeat all this bullshit, this jargon over here too as well. Like the cartels are running everything, despite their recent history in the Iran-Contra situation, showing that people like Jeffrey Epstein were involved, right? She's just saying what her cartel bosses tell her to say. Let's just say that their punishment for disobedience is a little worse than a performance improvement plan. Fuck you, Elon Musk. You're such a piece of shit. This is fucking unverified fucking sources, Elon Musk, right?
He's just making this up. He's just making, there's no, he doesn't have anything. He's just literally making it up. And who does it serve? It serves the United States. It serves the military intelligence apparatus and the cartels. The cartels that are funded and created by the United States and the DEA and the CIA. I mean, that's who it's serving, right? Yeah. And the entire purpose is to, right? It's for intervention.
Yeah.
Huh?
Can we talk about Scheinbaum real quick? Because he's talking about she's just telling what to say. Look, once again, Scheinbaum has some blind spots. And this is a point too, fam, where I think that we've gone in, we've met some of the people we know. I wrote down they're a little emotionally over emotionally invested in a certain candidate like a Lula, like a Scheinbaum, whatnot, right? Like I believe that Lula deserves criticism for his openness and desire to bringing vaccines in like crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, once again, I'm not going to start this whole argument that all vaccines are bad, yada, yada, yada. And, I mean, Cuba, when it came to Castro and, exporting fucking doctors to the world too as well, where they came up with vaccines that might have saved a lot of children's lives and whatnot. And I can understand how people buy into that, right? But I don't believe, once again, that when it comes to versus the right-wing conspiracy theorist out there, right? And I'm talking about the majority of the conspiracy theory world, they have this myopic kind of view and this westernized view and lenses on of what socialism is in Latin America and what, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of put the United States on the even level with all these other countries. Or I should say they should put like Mexico on the same level as the United States. No, you still have to analyze and look at every situation, especially from a journalist point of view and stuff like that. You have to lay everything, what's going on and how it's being affected. And you can't just simply say, well, this is a situation where the deep state and the globalists and Claudia Scheinbaum is playing along with the globalist and this is all staged and just say that's fucking reality. That's just not the truth. Claudia Scheinbaum has put herself on the side of the poor. She's building 1 million houses for the poor. Now, whether she's controlled opposition or not, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to judge every single situation, lay it out, and look at it the way it is, and say that this is a good thing. That Scheinbaum, like AMLO, is a good leader and does more for the Mexican people than any of the presidents we've seen in the modern time in the past in our lifetimes. And we
I would give a lot of shit for an AMLO or a Scheinbaum, like in the United States. Like seriously, like I wish we had a remotely competent president like that. Like and so yeah, like I think a lot of people do put these people on a pedestal, fam. You're right. Like, but at the same time,
quickly, fam, I just want to say, just to finish my thought, Scheinbaum does have a weak spot for plugging into the global stuff when it comes to face recognition and scanning and analysis. And
so does China and
she's getting poor people banking. That's why she's doing it. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying, yeah, you point that out. The right wing points that out, but they I mean, Russia and China are going along with it too. Like they don't get half the criticism, and it doesn't just come from the right. It comes from some of the left too. Like, oh, she's a globalist. But what are you talking about? Like, literally China is going right into the AI surveillance stuff. Russia is 100% going into it. Trust me, I know. And they don't what you're going to say. Putin is also a globalist. I mean, at that point, everybody should be judged based on the what they do. And I think people need to be not put on pedestals. You shouldn't put politicians on pedestals at all. Not a single one of them. It doesn't matter who it is. Don't put them on pedestals. That's it. Because at the end of the day, they're politicians. And they have to make decisions that are not going to make some people happy. I mean, just look at what Venezuela is doing, right? This is like, oh, Venezuela sold out. Is it that simple? This analysis that comes from a lot of Westerners, particularly U.S. Americans, is not journalism. It's shitty analysis. It's not even geopolitical analysis, because geopolitical analysis takes into account the politics, the history, and the actual happenings of what is happening on the ground in these countries. And they just sit from somewhere else and they make an analysis based on their preconceived beliefs. It's not an analysis based on what's actually happening, the people they talk to, the politics and the history of the country. If you're just saying, oh, because Claudia Sheinbaum is Jewish, therefore she is a controlled opposition because she's part of the globalist cabal, and if that's your analysis, that's not analysis. That's just you making shit up. Analysis requires a scientific approach to understanding the historical context of what is actually happening. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of these people get away with calling themselves geopolitical analysts or with saying they're journalists or on the ground. But if you're on the ground and you're just talking to a bunch of expats and you're not talking to the people of Mexico, that also goes for people in Russia. If you're just on the ground hanging out with the political class, but you're not talking to actual Russians or you're not talking to everybody else, and the same thing with any other country you could possibly think of, then you're not really doing journalism. You're feeding a certain narrative and you're actually just saying what you already thought you were going to say. So that's why I get so fired up about this situation.
Yeah, and fam, you know, it's when you're saying all that stuff, it's like, yeah, because who we talk to when we go on the ground. And what I did in Minnesota, I talked to actual people on the ground, like, you know what I'm saying, got the story, but yet never get it out there. And seeing Laura Logan put all that shit out there, guys, that's why you need trusted sources.
Loomer.
And Laura Loomer, sorry, not Laura Logan. She's let me down. But that's why we have a Give, Send, Go, because you need trusted sources who get on the ground and tell you what you need to go. Guys, go to our Give, Send, Go and help on out. Fam, please continue.
Okay, so this person, his name is Samuel, and he said Elon Musk can't have Mexico. This is in response to what Elon Musk is saying.
All right,
can't have Mexico's lithium, so he is angry at Sheinbaum for eliminating the biggest cartel head in the planet. 13 days ago, Claudia Sheinbaum said this. Remember that in the Constitution, one of the modifications to the Constitutional 28 is that only the state can exploit lithium. It was not only in the mining law, but also in the Constitution. So in this case, no private company, no private miner could exploit lithium. So they actually highlighted this part. This is important. We're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. This is key. So yeah, we can play it and I'll read it. In the Constitution, one of the amendments to the Constitution on the 2nd 8th is that only the state can exploit lithium. No longer only in the mining law, but also in the Constitution. So in this case, well, no private company will be able, no private mining company will be able to exploit the lithium. So, okay, that's basically what I said. Jackie Pagao.
She's violating my human rights.
A long time fam of the show, lives in Mexico, I think in particular in Puerto Vallarta, and she was really just pushing a lot of against this fake news. She said, I can't believe the level of misinformation about the events of this morning in Mexico. Costco was not burned down or blown up, which was a lot of what was said. Civilians are not targets. It isn't chaos, and we're not under siege. And no, we don't want the U.S. to bomb or save us, because that's exactly what this narrative serves to push, right? That's exactly what this narrative serves to push. And one of the other people that lives in Mexico, fam, that I know you love is Derek Bros. And Derek Bros.
I was afraid to ask you because, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what? Me and Derek Bros did talk about the cartels at one point at the Libertarian Convention and talked about Sheinbaum, right? And Derek does live over there. So I just want to know if he gets a grade for the job he's doing right now. If you give him a grade.
He's doing pretty well. I mean, he said, don't just follow expats with hot takes or tourists in Mexico. Follow these local journalists in Mexico reporting on developments after the cartel reaction to the killing of El Mencho. And again, like I've talked to other people, even on the left in Mexico, who had problems with AMLO, saying he wasn't doing enough. I mean, there's a lot of opinions on these politicians, and I think, you know, a lot of the times the left in the West kind of tends to be the ones to actually put them on pedestals more than the people in these countries. The people in these countries just want tangibles. They want to have more food. They want to have better roads. They want to have, you know, basic things that we take for granted in the United States. And, you know, that's it. And some of these people don't measure up to that, and that's fine. But that's their point of view, and these people are out there, so they're allowed to have that point of view. Like, it's not just because they're out there, though. Like, if you're well informed and you give good analysis on what's missing, then that's fine. But yeah, he laid out a list of people that are actually on there that, you know, are not expats only, and nothing against expats, because some of our expat communities are doing a good job as well of you know, cracking down on the fake news. So let's go ahead and listen to Claudia Sheinbaum. What she actually said was that the operation in Jalisco was to capture Nemesio Oseguera or Emencho, and it was carried out by the Mexican Defense Secretariat. So there we go. Let's listen, and I'll translate. Can you take out the... All operations were carried out by the federal forces. There's no participation in the operation of U.S. forces. What there is a lot of information exchange, as we have said here several times. The understanding with the United States is based primarily on the exchange of information intelligence. In this case, there was information provided by the government of the United States. Even they issued a communique intelligence, but the whole operation form is planning. It's the responsibility of the federal forces. In this case, the Secretary of the National Defense. So there you go. Straight from the horse's mouth, as the saying goes. That's the real news, right? The other real news is what another tweet by Jackie in her neighborhood where she lives. You're muted. Sorry, I was going on because you're muted. Okay.
I'm just screaming in the background, yelling about. I was going, Jackie, pow! Old school. Sorry, go ahead.
Cruise my neighborhood in the north of Vallarta. Many burned cars remain in the Costco parking lot. Costco remains closed until further notice. Building unscathed. Can you scroll up? The kiosco next to my apartment was completely destroyed. The 2 Oxos in this area burned down, but not the Costco. The cars were burned, but not the Costco. Like, so again, it's actually, people might think, oh, you're just being, no, it's important to have accurate information, right? And here are some of the videos.
Dude, they burnt a bunch of cars as roadblocks. That's it.
Yeah. And it's not, it's orchestrated. It shouldn't have happened.
From tires that they burn, fam. They're trying to fucking spread information, like real fucking to manufacture consent. I mean, I'm glad you didn't bring, because it could make me nauseous, Dan Crenshaw talking Spanish to the Mexican people, trying to manufacture consent for us to go in there. That's what they want. The United States wants to go in there and destabilize and get rid of Mexico right now the way it is. Mexico is getting further away and gaining more national sovereignty every single fucking year, every single passing moment, especially since AMLO and Sheinbaum took place, right? They're building a middle class. They're taking people out of poverty. They're mining their own lithium. They're doing all these things. They're growing their exports. And the United States doesn't like that. The United States wants to control one block, Canada, United States, Mexico, all of Central America, down to Venezuela and Colombia, get Greenland, and like the map from the Church of Rome, the old school situation about, you know what I'm saying? That's what they want. And they're going to try and do that. So what do you got to do? You got to fucking bastardize and demonize those you want to take out. And, you know, so many Americans, the cartels, fam, the cartels. And every single videos they make in the movies, they make the cartels look crazy. The cartels are walking lockstep with the CIA. We've known this. Yeah. We've gotten proof of this. Stop, guys. You know, thank you, Jackie, for jumping on in.
And I'm going to go into the cartel stuff in a second, but I just want to highlight a couple videos that I think are going to piss some people off, because it's just kind of payback. You know, the looting in the streets, you know, all these riots, the looting. Shit. Well, let's see who's doing the looting in the streets of Mexico. Can we go ahead and play the video? Oh, a Canadian tourist looting an OXXO. Let's play the video. Let's see this Canadian tourist. I thought Canadians were nice.
I'm American right here, guys.
I'm Mexican, and you should be ashamed to doing all those things. I'm pretty sure if I do the same thing in your country, I will be in jail. So just you go and deliver those.
You would
back.
be. He's
stealing. You are stealing.
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. It's like he's literally looting an OXXO in the middle of a crisis in Mexico, and he
I'm Mexican,
understands.
and you should be.
And he understands that in his country, this, like, if this guy did it, he'd be arrested. And he even says, "Yeah, you would." Like the audacity, the caucasity. The
No, but
caucasity.
you know, from a lot of the expats we meet, there'll be expats there that would fucking belittle that guy. Be like, "What the fuck
Of
is your problem?
course.
We're
Of course,
visitors
I'm
here.
not
We're
saying
guests.
it's everybody.
Get the fuck out of here." Somebody should have given that guy a beating.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's not everybody. 100%. Like all of our peeps would be entirely against the shit. Like unless you're, it's a zombie apocalypse and you're like, like that's a different story. But this is not the zombie apocalypse. You're contributing to really making things worse. So this is another one. A store in Puerto Vallarta was vandalized by the cartel, and Americans there on vacation, decided to loot them and then lie when they were being recorded and say they told us to take whatever we want for free. How freaking embarrassing. Let's play this video.
Things like this for these people. No,
It's the
no.
same guy.
Yeah.
That's an expat there filming him.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
I live
They
here.
should be
I've lived here
filming
for
them. Yeah.
years.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to
I'm
shame
not
these
gonna
people. Like,
I'm not gonna
shame.
rob a place.
Oh my god.
That's so embarrassing. And that one too.
All the people going in there are just literally Westerners. Like, I don't even see Mexican people going in there. They're just watching, and they're like, maybe if the white guy goes, maybe we should go. Like, I don't know. Like, it's insane. Guys, this is how 101 how not to behave in a foreign country. Like,
They got shamed. They put the stuff back.
yeah,
They got shamed. They went and put the stuff back.
good for you. Because you got caught, not because you. Oh God! So that was a little bit of a, I don't know how to say, like a little bit a comedic, but also really shitty to see. A couple more things here. So till we get to the next section, I want to get there rather quickly. So
We're not going to spend a long time on the Trump State of the Union, fucking village idiot. Like,
yeah.
I people fell asleep, nauseated, whatnot. Like I said, we're gonna have Jayme come in at the very end. I just want to show you we're in a time of acceleration where they're trying to be as divisive as they can in everything they do because they want a civil war rather than a class war. So that's what the State of the Union was completely about. Once again, this team versus that team. That's all it was. But anyways, go ahead, fam.
Yeah, so I want to talk about what actually is happening. So on the 25th of February, Puerto Vallarta was already recuperating. Things were already more calm. The tourists started pretty much just engaging in regular activities. So this article is in Spanish, but just shows like pretty much everything is getting back to normal. There's a lot of tourists there doing their tourist things, and they're, just strolling peacefully throughout the Puerto Vallarta. You can show some of the pictures of them just like, living the dream in Mexico. And I have to reiterate that because you're still going to hear the narrative that the United States needs to invade Mexico because it's so bad and all this stuff. So I did a whole long thing on this, right? Because I was so pissed off. And this is where we get into the cartel CIA stuff, because a lot of the people that were sharing all this stuff, right, were not really sharing the history of it, right? And I said this, look, have you asked yourself why suddenly random gringo US independent journalists are going to report on the violent Mexican cartels pushing fake AI videos to coincidentally promote the Trump administration's narco cartels are taking over narrative, but they don't talk about the fact that these cartels are burning Mexican government buildings but refuse to burn US embassies? Why are the cartels trying to cause havoc, wreak havoc on Mexico and not going after, American strong points? Why don't they mention the CIA's creation of cartels and how they've been empowered them via the DEA and self-created war on drugs for decades, which is fueling, of course, the fentanyl and heroin addiction and death, funneling the same weapons that they and the Zionists smuggle to criminals? Because as you know, Israel also smuggled lots of weapons that were found with the cartels. This in an effort to destabilize countries into regime change, feeding this entire criminal syndicate, which is also leading to the expansion of the already massive military prison industrial complex, the private prison industrial complex, which also fills the pockets of the Zionist predator trafficking and pedo blackmail rings as the cycle continues, and they target Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia, and all of Latin America. Because what is Trump doing now? He's targeting all of these countries simultaneously. And unless you talk about the military intel role in all of this, and you talk about the decades of regime change operations, you have no business in analyzing what the hell is going on in a country or region. None of you understand because you're too busy pointing the finger at them as the city's burned, but the arsonist is in your house. We are the terrorists. We are the problem. Our government is the one doing this, is the one causing all of this, okay? And that's the point I wanted to make. And it's a point that was reiterated by many people. And another thing on that note, Mexico is already announcing that they're going to bring more humanitarian aid to Cuba, while the U.S. is, of course, suffocating the economy of Mexico or of Cuba. So apparently there's going to be 2 Mexican Navy ships that have already departed from the port of Veracruz, which is near the sea. The logistics support vessels Papaloapan and Huasteco, carrying a total of 1,193 tons of supplies destined for the island's population, mainly beans and powdered milk. There are also 23 tons of various foodstuffs donated directly by the people of Mexico at the collection center set up in the Zocalo in the Mexico City. So you can see that Mexico is defying what the U.S. wants. And I point this out because this is another thing the United States does not like that Mexico is doing at all whatsoever. And this is also puts Mexico in danger. And more on We Are the Terrorists. And Fam, I want to get your take on this. So there's only been one reported civilian casualty from Mexico's operation to take down El Mencho and the subsequent response by organized crime challenging authorities. If the U.S. had carried it out instead, how many apartments do you think they would have bombed just to put ISIS in charge? This is very relevant to what's happening right now, right? What we're seeing happening in West Asia or the Middle East. So you don't have to show all of that, but you know, here's some images. Only they had one civilian casualty on this, and you know the rest. Fam, I really like. I want to ask you, you know, like, how many casualties would we have had if we would have conducted such an operation in Mexico?
I mean, it doesn't. We don't have any regard for life or whatever. I mean, just look at what we're doing with the Caribbean right now, and now I think we just blew up another boat somewhere else in the ocean. We don't care. We have no regard for life, especially if it's not an American citizen. And we're at a time right now where we've completely shown that anybody other than a Western or American or an Israeli, for that matter, is less than. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of the implementation of all these AI programs is to take the emotions out of things, right? Mm-hmm. They've already gotten to a point where they've desensitized a lot of the kills by drone footage, by, you know, training kids to play video games, then make them a drone operator. And now they're separated emotionally from that target and stuff. But there's still some connection whatsoever if they have to see and under and kind of grasp what they're doing. So now they're implementing AI to remove that altogether. So you talk about, you know, the way things were done. They were done with a regard to life, to have as little casualties as possible. If the Americans come in, they don't give a shit. You know, to them, their target is their number one goal. Just like the Israelis, they don't care how many people they kill in that process. In fact, you know, we've had Westerners and people, you know, Madeleine Albright say, you know, it was worth it, you know, at the end of the day, meaning that the death of children are worth it to destabilize a government or kill a person we don't like. So you can't even put a number on it right now, fam, because that's how so far we've gone. And the shame about it is that there are Americans on both sides of the aisle that actually endorse it and think the ends justify the means. And that's not just the Republicans. The Democrats were okay with what was going on in Ukraine and stuff like that, and fooling themselves because they thought it was okay to push back against Vladimir Putin because he's mean to gay people. So they were okay with it too, the deaths and the killings of all these people in the Donbass. So, I mean, it's done on both sides. There is no regard for life. There is no love for life. And Americans are completely the most propagandized and emotionally separated from death around them. I mean, like you have talked about in the reporting you've done with Vanessa, this whole desensitization, and Gloria Guillo from Uncontrolled Opposition with Jeremy Kozmarov talk about this all the time. There's a desensitizing propaganda agenda going on, to desensitize people completely. And with this whole Gaza situation, it's almost like mission complete for those in charge who want that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. This it's a lack of humanity. It's a lack of respect for life that is happening. And one of the things that you said, Pasta, about Americans being the most propagandized, we absolutely are. Let's just take a look at this next video. Okay. Expose dumb Americans. Mexico is the most dangerous place because of the cartels. This is why Trump built the wall. Mexico. 80% of criminals captured weapons originate in the U.S. Let's listen to what this guy says. He is the Secretary of Defense, I believe, for Mexico.
De esas 23,000 armas, el 80% son de origen norteamericano. Entonces, en este caso, más o menos es la misma proporción.
So
de esas
said,
23,000 armas.
I didn't know it was in Spanish. I forgot. So out of the 23,000 weapons that have been previously captured, 80% of them have a U.S. origin. Okay. What does that tell you? Well, where the problem lies, where the root problem lies. Yeah. It's not with Mexico. And as I said, I was in Mexico in December, and it was honestly like Mexico has improved substantially. It keeps improving. There's less poverty. Clara Sheinbaum, I think, has people, I've heard numbers between 70 and 80% approval rating. There's reasons for that. A lot of people were supporting of AMLO, and she's just continuing that same type of government. And I felt pretty safe in Mexico. A lot of people always tell me, even Latin Americans, oh, be careful, Mexico this, Mexico that, because they buy the propaganda. They constantly buy the fact that, maybe it's dangerous there. But honestly, I looked at the crime rates, actually. It is far more dangerous in the streets of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, parts of LA and New York than it is in Latin American countries. And I'm telling you this as somebody that's traveled throughout Latin America, and there are cities that are not safe. It's not even cities, but neighborhoods, right? Like even here, like I can't go to certain neighborhoods because it's not safe. But in retrospect, is just in the US, it's not that safe anymore. Pasta, you're frozen. For whatever reason. And then the last thing I want to show along with this is a really good article by the Free Thought Project that Derek Bros shared. And this article talks about what the TV won't tell you. The bloodshed in Mexico is a direct result of a decades-long U.S. proxy war. Read this article if you can, and I'll put it in the chat because it actually gives you a quick summary of what this is about. And I'm going to read a little bit of it. The first two paragraphs, Jayme, I'll read that, and then I'll tell you where. So yesterday, the sky over Jalisco burned black as the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, the CJNG, unleashed a wave of coordinated narco-terror in response to the assassination of their leader, Nemesio El Mencho Ceguera Cervantes. The mainstream press is predictably regurgitating sanitized official briefings, painting this as a heroic triumph of the military intelligence over an isolated vacuum of evil. The state needs the public to believe that syndicates like the CGNG materialize out of thin air, requiring billions more in taxpayer funding and heavily armed federal ICE agents to defeat. That narrative relies entirely on historical amnesia and state-sponsored propaganda. The truth is that the United States government, acting as the ultimate cartel with a legal monopoly on violence, incubated the exact conditions, supplied the military-grade weapons, and allowed Wall Street to launder the bloody profits that created the CJNG in the first place. And we're going to scroll down to the next one under the video. The claim that the CJNG functions as a legitimate paramilitary force capable of taking down military aircraft is not hyperbole. It is a terrifying matter of historical record that the state desperately tried to downplay. And then he goes on to explain the history of this and talking about this. And one of the things that I want to also read is this paragraph, and I'll just go ahead and read it, Jayme. You don't have to show it. I'll just go ahead and read it. He says the blueprint for this corruption was laid decades ago when the CIA helped establish the Dirección Federal de Seguridad, or the DES, Mexico's equivalent to the FBI, which functioned as the intelligence and enforcement arm for the early cartels, while the CIA simultaneously used smuggling routes to fund the Nicaraguan Contras. Guys, how many times have Pasta and I talked about this stuff? You know, like, it's right. Yes, thank you, Jayme. I mean, how many times have we said this, the reason for the existence of cartels, for gangs, for everything that's happening in Central America and Honduras, happened in Guatemala, Nicaragua, and El Salvador, in Mexico, all of this is a result of the U.S. interventionism, known as also, of course, the Iran-Contra affair, our supplying of weapons to these radicals. The same exact way, by the way, we have done it and did it to ISIS, and are now doing it to Jolani's thugs,
The
these
Mujahideen.
head choppers that are going about and literally head chopping and gouging people's eyes all over Syria, and who are going to be used, by the way, against Iran. Okay, and so this is what we do. The same footprint, the same blueprint, the same exact plan, whether it's in Mexico or South America or in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. That is what we do, fam.
Yeah.
And do you want to speak more on this? Because I think it's important you do.
Well, fam, I've said it so many times. Thank you for putting that out. I always refer to, Iran-Contra all the time and talk about it. And, it's the root cause. To me, it blows my mind that here we go again. And really, to tell you the truth, I was telling Jayme before we started, in an election integrity event, it was called the American Project. I was on the solutions committee. At the very end, I was going to speak. It's the last panel up there. It was in West Palm Beach. And right before I went up, Laura Logan, not Loomer, right? Laura Logan had a conversation with a guy who was an ex-Border Patrol guy who was going to the United States, going to Washington, D.C., to ask Donald Trump to eventually, if he gets back into the administration, gets back into office, to ask them to be to list the cartels as a terrorist organization, right? And I saw the writing on the wall right there. I'm like, okay, once again, here we go again. And I asked him, I said, how controlled are the cartels with the CIA? He goes, well, I don't know exactly and stuff. I'm like, but you would admit that there are connections, right? We found this out through Iran-Contra. It was completely, they've had hearings about this whole situation where the CIA was aiding the cartels to get their cocaine into the United States, to give it to people like Freeway Rick Ross, to turn it to crack cocaine, sell it on the streets, make money, buy weapons, and then fund oppositions in Iran and oppositions with the Contras in Nicaragua. So we understand this. Has there been a change at all? I mean, we once did a show. We asked Scott Ritter the same question. He said they're tied at the hip. And this was like 3-4 years ago, right? When we did this, we've been yelling and screaming at the top of our lungs that this is still going on. And they're going to do these things to manufacture consent so we can do what? Go into these countries, destabilize with our military. This is what it's all about. It's always been about this. It hasn't changed. The song still remains the same. But it's just amazing to me the way all these people fall for it and go along with this stuff. And, fam, you got to give it to them. They have the media in play. People like Elon Musk, once again. That's why I'm saying Elon Musk cannot, right now, as far as I'm concerned, with that statement he made, he broke Section 230 of the NDAA because he is picking winners and losers and controlling the narrative. He's working pretty much for the state to do what they're going to do. This is about empire. This is about imperialism. This is about the 1% raping the resources from the others, and they're using this stuff right now to go ahead and manufacture consent. I'm glad you showed the exact line. And, this is something that Claudia Sheinbaum has to deal with. She has to deal with, a whole group of fucking, all these entities that are going to be against what she's doing. She has to deal with that. And she's fighting the deep state way more than Donald Trump's fighting the deep state in his country. I'll tell you that much.
The last thing I want to say on this, fam, to add to everything you just said, is this. So this is what I think we need to to highlight from this article. If you want to understand how the CJNG ultimately emerged from this proxy war, we have to examine the monsters they were originally built to fight. In the 1990s, the US government trained elite Mexican special forces known as the GAFE at the infamous School of the Americas in Fort Benning, Georgia. Imagine that.
Yeah.
These heavily trained US-funded commandos eventually deserted the military to become the brutal enforcement wing for the Gulf Cartel, calling themselves Los Zetas and introducing military-grade terror tactics to the drug war. Desperate for a win against the monster they helped create, the US government effectively formed an alliance with the rival Sinaloa cartel. Guys, okay, this is it, okay? This is it. I mean, this has been highlighted I don't know how many times, but the reality is that's what we do. We've been doing it forever. Anybody that's analysis does not include that historical context for the cartels is not doing real analysis, is not really covering this from the accurate journalistic perspective. It's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of history. It's a matter of fact of what's happened and what's been exposed. So
that's microphone drop, fam. That's microphone drop right there. End of story. Guys, if you want to help us on out, please go to our Give, Send, Go. We need real journalism out there. We don't need lies. We need people hitting the ground, getting the stories, talking about what's going on. Refresh that because there's 29 givers now. Boom. We got a 29. Who wants to be number 30? Lucky number 30, 30. Jump on in there. Leave something if you can. We got 29. Who was the last one, Jayme? Let's put that one up there. Somebody donated. And the last section we're going to go really quickly through, guys, because we, obviously the State of the Union, after seeing that hearing that took place with the whistleblower over there, after looking what's going on in Latin America on a regular basis, you think that Donald Trump will be running for cover and saying, let me resign because it's so awful. Instead, he was bragging, we're winning. Do we have up the Give, Send, Goer? We can share that on the screen. Thank you so much. Daniela Modos Cutter, $5. Thank you so much. Thanks for keeping us updated from across the pond as what happens in the U.S. affects us all. That's right. They throw the rock, and then everybody else in the world feels the ripples. And thank you so much for donating, guys. Please continue to donate if you can. If you can't, hit that big share button. Let's get that share number up. Let's get like 5 more shares there. If you can't donate, share along. Help us on out. We're doing what we got to do. Fam, your favorite president of all times in the history of presidents ever took to the stage. It was a WWE wrestling event. No, I mean, it was a Congress event. It was the State of the Union. And the president went up there. Now, listen.
My favorite was Obama, fam. Yeah. My favorite president of all time was Obama. Yeah, by my favorite, I mean, I think I hated him the most because he's the one that tricked a lot of people, including I voted for him. So that's why. No, not me. Twice,
I voted twice.
Yeah.
Me.
But yeah, I mean, it sucks.
Sucker.
I mean, that's you live and you learn.
Well, that's what's happening right now with the Trump people too, as well. They're still kind of holding on. People making excuses, looking for their confirmation bias. Wilson Phillips fan, if we hold on for one more day, things will go away. Well, the main thing is that we've reached a time of acceleration, ladies and gentlemen, where things are supposed to be uber divisive. Right? Nico House came on our show, talked about is the reason why we got the worst Trump ever, worse than his first term, was because we had Joe Biden to the extreme, labeling Americans as domestic terrorists and whatnot, and splitting people right down the middle. I mean, it all-out war of left versus right. They won a civil war. That's what the State of the Union address was. You know what I'm saying? And you'll see him because Donald Trump would just belittle and call out the Democrats every time he can. They want a full-on left versus right. Let's go on. Let's take a look. Here's a couple examples of Donald Trump doing exactly that yesterday. He tells everybody to stand up, right? Fam, talk about really like a straw man argument of sorts. I don't know if it's a straw man argument, but just really if you a false fucking equivalency. You stand up if you believe this, and if you don't, you're a traitor. Watch this. Can't hear
Then stand up and show your support. The first duty of The American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
It's so stupid.
Effective.
Illegal aliens from another planet.
It's effective. Look at the look.
Look, I hate his face.
Look
His
at him.
face. His face. It's so funny. He looks
Look at
like Pepe the Frog.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
He looks like
These
Pepe
guys
the
don't care
Frog.
about you. They care about
Yes, they
illegal
do.
aliens. It's a leftist agenda. They don't care about you. Republicans. We might be perfect, fam, but we care about you. And we're going to protect you from China. From China. I mean, what a fucking awful, scenario. Choice A or B.
Wait.
Gun to your head. Pick one, A or B. Let the gun go off. Let the gun go off. Chase Oliver said that. All right. The next clip,
Wait,
once
wait, wait.
again,
I
he reiterates
show
it. He
this really
tells you,
quickly.
fam, these people, is the frog. These people over here, these Democrats, they're crazy, fam. Jayme.
Sorry, I probably distracted Jayme with Pepe. No, it's very bad.
Here you
It's
go.
very bad.
Nobody stands up.
Hotspot.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
My God, he's such a theater fucking puppet.
It's just meant to be divisive. It's just meant to
Yeah.
split the country in half. Pick a side, fam. That's what they're doing.
We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? Huh?
Now praise me. We stopped it.
These
And then people repeat that shit like Donald Trump is something special, like he's
God.
something different, like he isn't a what's the thing I call him? A jagoff, right? A jarhead. Just another Republican, fam. He's just another Republican.
Don't you think this is precisely like coordinated though?
Of course.
Because all it does is it gives the Democrats the ability to say, "Oh, we're better than that. He's divisive.
Yep.
Look, we're gonna rescue America
Yep.
from the claws of this orange man who's such a Nazi, and so we're just gonna come and save the world, and they're gonna do fuck all." So, like,
Fam,
that's,
it's gonna be you're either voting with racism or against racism. That's what the Democrats are gonna do. You're either a racist or you're not. And if you vote for Jill Stein or you vote for the Libertarian, you're a racist because you're just helping out the Republicans. That's what's coming. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying? It's just, and we saw Gavin Newsom the other day. That's interesting. That's interesting about the whole fucking Zionist thing. He's another Zionist. But, fam, that's all it is. And it was all of that shit the whole night, all the bullshit. Then once again, we stopped them in the nick of time. We saved America. What do you got here? Iraq 2.0, fam.
Yeah, so another thing that I've seen lately from the Trump administration and just from pretty much anybody that's on the right, like, of course, Lindsay, good old Lindsay, have they been pushing us to bomb Iran, right?
Bomb Iran.
It's insane. And they're using the same argument that they used 23 years ago. And if you remember what we're talking about the war in Iraq and the WMDs. So let's hear what was said. And this is, by the way, it's set. This is the narrative they're going with yet again.
They shot him and hung him. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America.
Here we go.
After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. They shot him and
Okay.
hung him.
So
We stopped
basically,
them
he's
from
talking about
hanging a
Iran,
lot of
right?
them with
I
the
got the
threat of
Iranian
topic,
flag,
Jayme.
fam.
And he's saying that Iran has weapons that will could destroy the world and the United States of America. What he's not saying is that Israel actually is one with the nuclear weapons. That I don't know if you've seen this map. Maybe I need to send it. Literally wipe out the entirety of the world except south of Colombia or Venezuela, I think. So, yay! But everybody else is pretty much in danger of Israel's nuclear arsenal. By the way. So yeah, he's leaving that part out. Iran has continuously said they're going to pursue their nuclear capabilities because they know if they don't do that, then they have no chance. Iran is in a very difficult position. The United States and Israel have to pretty much attack them or find a way to issue some sort of complacency from Iran in order to complete Greater Israel plan, because Iran is the last thing standing for the resistance. The resistance I'm talking about in Hezbollah, which has been attacked by Israel recently, Ansarallah, what's left of the Palestinian resistance, all of them really look to Iran as the center of everything. And Iran is being attacked by multiple fronts. It's being attacked by ISIS, the ISIS prisoners that were released purposely in Iraq. It's being attacked by the Jolani thugs in Syria. And now the Kurds, some of them are going to turn, and there's millions of them, and be used against them as well. So we're talking about an attack on multiple fronts towards Iran. And are Russia and China going to step in? That has been the question that a lot of people have been asking. When it comes to Russia, I am less optimistic of that because of their relationship, Putin in particular's relationship with the Chabad and with Israel. So there's a lot to be said, but Donald Trump is trying to use the same arguments that we heard 23 years ago that most of us living today have had to grow up with, the repercussions of that people in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all over West Asia still live with the repercussions of, with these jihadists and actual head choppers that they have radicalized. And this is why, again, this is directly coordinated with the cartel stuff, because this is what we're doing. And he's using it as an excuse to manufacture consent for war. So I think it's important we point that out. Fam, anything to say on the Iraq 2.0?
No, I mean, it's the same old, same old. I mean, you hear every single politician too as well. The conservatives on the right.
Yep.
These are the people who chant death to America, death to Israel. You know, they've gotten their boogeyman. And like I said, when it came to the Munich Security Council with Marco Rubio, he didn't just lay out like an ideology of a plan to continue with colonialism, you know, while once again stroking the ego of the Trump administration. Like they're going along with this whole kind of, you know, practice that you just constantly repeat that you're doing an amazing job and you keep doing what you're doing and you get away with it. You know, you start to believe your own bullshit too as well. So it makes it easier for you to pull this off. But yeah, they're just going to keep repeating this rhetoric. You know, it reminds me a lot of Netanyahu talking about, and pretty soon the smoking bomb will be turning into a mushroom cloud. And then Condoleezza Rice, the smoking bomb, into everybody was a mushroom cloud, mushroom cloud, mushroom cloud. The Dick Cheney situation, and here goes Donald Trump, and people want to act like he's any different than this. No, he's the same. He's just another Republican, and here we go again with the scare for Iran because we know it's coming. We know it's coming.
The last thing I have here is
your one of your favorite political analysis, Mark Levin. Yeah, I love him.
Look at him. Iran is producing ballistic missiles with chemical and biological warheads. We mustn't delay any longer. Let's go bomb Iran. And he's quote tweeting a post from that said Iran producing ballistic missiles with chemical and biological warheads. Israel's defense establishment is providing targets and discussing the different capabilities that need to be dealt with in a potential U.S. military campaign. So basically, again, Israel, U.S. are intent on going after Iran one way or another, whether it's to diplomacy, which is submission, by the way, for Iran, or whether it's through actually bombing them. They're intent on taking down Iran. And if Iran doesn't fight back, okay, then that's it for the resistance. In my opinion, I mean, there'll be resistance pockets, but in terms of anything viable, that's it. Iran is literally so important for any anti-imperialist type of force. They're looked upon as somebody to that caliber.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't think we can rely on anybody else ideologically at that level. Not on China or Russia, not ideologically. You know, they're engaged in economic expansion, they're engaged in diplomacy, multipolarity, and all that, but it's not the same thing. So it's very, very dangerous what's happening.
Fam, there were a lot of people who gave a rebuttal to the State of the Union, the shit of the Union. You know, at least Juan Guaido wasn't, or Maria Corina Machado wasn't honored and applauded or whatnot, or they brought a Ukrainian flag and Nancy Pelosi getting all giddy because she got to meet Zelensky coming to the floor. I mean, there were some positives there that we didn't get so much of the stuff that we want to barf and vomit. But rather than show the rebuttals to the State of the Union from any other Democratic politician or person like that, why not listen to the survivors out there from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, saga, crisis, whatever you want to call it, disaster of sorts, catastrophe. Let's listen to one of them speaking. We didn't have to show Bryan Cranston's face. I'd rather just listen to the lady and stuff. Because once again, he's just going to exploit the situation when it came to Epstein. He's not consistent, calling out the other Democrats involved. And that's something we see, that they're all involved. There are no parties. It's a two-party illusion. Let's listen to her.
As we prepare to attend the State of the Union, survivors and this country have so many questions that need to be answered. The first one is, where are the rest of the files? The truth must come out. Why are there no investigations when there are plenty of people in these files to investigate? Have we read them? Why is the FBI director out there partying like a college kid when he should be investigating the vast criminal enterprise? How can anybody feel safe in this country when our president's sympathies are going to the former Prince Andrew and not to survivors? Release the
And he did. He apologized for. He released the files. Now the rest of them, or hold somebody accountable. My favorite meme is with Chris Farley. And he's screaming like, you know, for the love of God, arrest somebody. Like, you know, that's my favorite. It's not going to happen. Sorry, folks. They said they're packing up, moving on from this whole situation. You get what you get. Even what you got is redacted, but power is not going to be held accountable. She was kind of referring to the fact that you got Kash Patel celebrating with the United States hockey team instead of arresting people or investigating what we saw in those files. They don't care about you. They never have. And Donald Trump sympathizing with Prince Andrew. Fuckhead Andrew, I don't even call him Prince, rather than sympathizing and helping out the survivors. He showed you everything. For the love of God, arrest somebody! And you got Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. Pam, did you know that the Dow was above 50,000? Anyways.
Wait, Fam, before Jayme goes or before we say anything else, there's breaking news. Unfortunately, there was... You saw this?
No, the speedboat. Yeah, I saw from Camilla just released it. Yes, I did see it.
Yeah, so there was a speedboat detected within Cuban territorial waters with Florida, and it approached 1 nautical mile northeast, and then it opened fire. They shot at the 5 combatants. Fire was opened from the offending boat against the Cuban personnel, causing the commander of the vessel to be injured as a result of the confrontation. Up to the closing of this information on the foreign side, 4 aggressors were killed and 6 were injured who were evacuated and received medical assistance. Faced with the current challenges, Cuba reaffirms its commitment to protecting its territorial waters based on the principle that the national defense is a fundamental pillar for the Cuban state in order to protect its sovereignty and stability in the region. Investigations are continuing by the competent authorities to fully clarify the facts. This is directly from Cuba, about the revolution. This is an outlet.
Yeah. Now, I know right off the bat, I want to let people know that we don't know if this is a rogue Cuban family or whoever going just crazy. You know, because we're very close.
No,
to Cuba.
No.
State sponsored. Do we know?
No, but why would they go crazy? It was the American boat that was coming at them.
No, I know, but I'm saying that American boat could be citizens of the Cuban citizens in the United States. What I'm saying is we don't know if it was state sponsored that did this. We don't know if it was, a Bay of Pigs situation. We don't know all that. We have to figure that out. But we definitely know the integrity was, especially their national sovereignty was threatened. Their sovereignty was threatened, and they have a right to defend themselves. It looks like
Yeah,
they killed
they
some
do.
people, but rescued some. And, we'll figure out more. We'll find out what's going on. We don't know exactly who did this, but I would say, let alone the rhetoric that the state has towards Cuba, would manufacture consent for somebody to go rogue
Yeah,
and give them almost
absolutely.
permission to do something like that. So that's why we have to be careful when this is happening. So,
Absolutely.
guys, remember, we have a give, send, go. If you want to help on out, we do have a comment there. Did we star that one? Can we show that person's love? We got a 29th donator. Did we already share that, Daniela? We did. We shared that. I'm sorry. If anybody else wants to jump on in, please jump on in. If anybody wants to share, please go ahead and share. Help us out. Help us get on the ground. Get these stories too. You got a lot of stuff going on. The Convo Couch is ready to not only act but react and do what we got to do to get you guys the story. We need your help, and we appreciate you helping out independent media. Is that it for now, fam?
That's it for now.
All right, guys. I have my radio show in a couple hours. You can go and check that out. It's about an hour and 18 minutes away on WBAI. Fam has a Substack. You can always check that out. But please go by the Give, Send, Go for Pasta Jardula, Fam, Fiorella, Isabel, all those lovely people on the chats, and Jayme CheeseSlice on the 1s and 2. That is the Truth Wire for today. We'll see you Friday, guys. Truth out.
Bye.